Good afternoon, Western Washington, and happy Wednesday. I'm Matthew Fab with Western Washington Weather, and we've got a lot to talk about today as we have two significant fires that will be causing some smoke impacts across the region, and then our incoming summer atmospheric river and big pattern change with a lot of rain coming up this weekend, or from Friday into this weekend. So we will have a look at all of that through the video today, but I want to start with the satellite imagery. You can see just right here in Mason County, look at that smoke plume just coming off the Bear Gulch fire. That smoke has blown all the way across eastern Washington. It is going into Montana right now. And then we have another smoke plume up here near Port Alberni, British Columbia, on Vancouver Island there as the Mount Underwood fire is blowing smoke west as well, or sorry, east as well, and that is going out all the way toward parts of northern Washington and in toward Alberta over there. So pretty interesting to see these fires go, and they're likely going to both have some pretty explosive growth over the next few days, in addition to what they've already had. You can see some marine layer clouds here burning off across the Seattle area, and then some more clouds along the coast as well. So taking a look at temperatures yesterday, this is areas from Seattle northward. You can see Everett 94 degrees, Mount Vernon 88, Bellingham 84. Cooled down a little bit up here for some of these areas north, not as hot as it was yesterday. But look at that, Friday Harbor 90 degrees, Northern Olympic Peninsula 88 in Port Angeles, 89 there in Port Townsend, even a 90 showing up there near Coupeville on Whidbey Island. So just really hot for some of these areas. If we look more toward the metro area, 91 at SeaTac Airport, 91 there in Tacoma, 95 at Olympia, 97 in Shelton, and then even out toward Ocean Shores, 96 there, 82 in Aberdeen, and 90s on the Kitsap Peninsula. And then look at some of the eastern lowlands, 97 near Redmond, 96 in North Bend, 95 out there near Maple Valley. It was just a really hot day across the area. And then going further south, look at that, 97 in Chehalis, 99 near Longview, 99 for the third day in a row in Portland, and then out on the coast it was a little bit cooler, down towards 68 there in the Long Beach Peninsula area. But overall, Tuesday was a very hot day across the region. And also wanted to show this. This is from the Mount Underwood fire. This is a video from my friend Ryan Voutilainen in Vancouver, BC. And this is just one of those smoke plumes that we have seen from these two fires we're having right now. This was looking west from Vancouver last night. Just look at all that smoke coming off that fire on Vancouver Island and moving toward the city there and parts of the lower mainland. So now taking a look at the European model here, this is our overall pattern, and we can see we have this troughing to our north as that ridge has broken down and moved away. That ridge offshore was what was causing all the heat, and now it's gone. So you can see here as we go through the next couple of days, you get this interaction between the trough and the ridge, and that is what's going to start to push that atmospheric river into the area right here along the southern boundary of that trough as we go into Friday and Saturday. And then as we go through the next few days, this troughing hangs out and it's going to keep us on the cooler side, but we're not going to have all that much rain with it once the atmospheric river moves out of the area. And then as we go into next week, we start to have that troughing diminish, and we are a little bit more uncertain in what our forecast is looking like for that time. So taking a look at temperatures real quickly today, a big decrease from yesterday. Highs across the lowlands likely in the low to mid 70s from Seattle northward, maybe some upper 70s to low 80s for the valleys. From Seattle southward, highs in the upper 70s to low 80s. Portland area there in the low to mid 80s. Again, maybe some upper 80s further south of Portland there. And then on the coast, highs in the mid 60s. So back to seasonable temperatures on the coast. Thursday, we cool down some more with some more clouds moving through the area. Highs likely in the upper 60s to low 70s from Seattle northward and low to mid 70s from Seattle southward. And then if you look down here toward the Willamette Valley, highs in the upper 70s to low 80s. And mid 60s again on the coast. But look at Friday as that atmospheric river starts to move in. Highs drop to the upper 60s to low 70s for most of the area. And then Saturday, we may rebound a little bit with some warmer temperatures in the afternoon as the atmospheric river moves out of the area. But I will warn you, it's probably going to be quite muggy with all that rain and all that water on the ground there as we go into Saturday, and those highs getting back up into the mid 70s. So we'll be watching that closely over the next few days. Warm up a little bit Sunday into Monday, but staying in the mid 70s for most of the area. And just wanted to point this out again. We've been talking about this a lot the last few days. This is the European model looking at 24-hour temperature difference here. This is 5 p.m. today, and some of these areas from like Portland up toward Olympia are looking at 20 to 25 degrees cooler than we were yesterday at this time. Even most of the Puget Sound lowlands likely 15 to 20 degrees below Tuesday's highs. You can see there as we go to about 7 p.m., it's 20 degrees cooler in Tacoma than it was on Tuesday, 15 degrees cooler in Bellingham and Seattle, or sorry, Everett and Seattle, 10 degrees cooler in Bellingham. So you'll notice the cool down, and it'll be nice to get back to some more seasonable temperatures instead of those really hot temperatures in the 90s for most of the area. So now I wanted to point this out here. The Bear Gulch fire went absolutely crazy yesterday, had its biggest day of growth yet. All of this orange is heat signatures that are out, most of them are outside of the perimeter of the fire, showing just how much it's grown. It's starting to go up this pretty large canyon here. It has a lot of room to grow here in these areas of the Olympics that quite frankly don't burn very often. Yesterday when I did my video, Tuesday morning, the Bear Gulch fire was at 5,700 acres, and as of this morning's update, it's at 7,400 acres. So just some sobering growth on the Bear Gulch fire, and that's likely to continue over the next couple of days here. Taking a look at this photo from my friend Mark Ingalls from South Surrey, British Columbia, and take a look at that pyrocumulonimbus cloud that came off the Bear Gulch fire yesterday. This was visible from over 100 miles away, and you can see just how massive that cloud was. That is not a thunderstorm, that is all smoke, and that is why the Bear Gulch fire grew nearly 2,000 acres yesterday. Now taking a look here at the next fire, this is the Mount Underwood fire. We're on the BC Wildfire Service website here, and you can see where this fire is. So here's Port Alberni, here's Nanaimo, Vancouver, Bellingham, and Victoria. So you just kind of give you a picture of where this fire is. It's currently burned 2,156 hectares. That is about 5,000 acres, and that is only in a couple of days. So that this fire has just been going really crazy, and that is going to continue here over the next few days. We saw that video from Ryan earlier in Vancouver where you had all that smoke moving toward parts of the lower mainland. And as we look here at the forecast, you can see why that's happening, because this fire is almost due west of Vancouver and the smoke is just pushing in there. And now watch as we go through the day today. Both these fires put out huge smoke plumes again. Look at all that smoke over parts of Vancouver Island blowing toward Vancouver and extreme northwest Washington. But look at the Bear Gulch fire there. That smoke plume blowing straight over Hood Canal, Bremerton, Kitsap Peninsula, and right towards Seattle. This is likely going to be smoke aloft, so it's going to be elevated. It's not going to be impacting air quality outside of Hood Canal and some parts of the western Kitsap Peninsula. But you are going to notice some very smoky skies for parts of Seattle and maybe some areas south. You'll be able to see the plume to your north. Same thing for areas like Everett. Looking south, you'll be getting some smoke as well. And as we go through the evening, that plume expands. Look at 8 p.m. You just have a massive amount of smoke blowing off this fire towards Shelton, Bremerton, all the way down toward Olympia, Tacoma, and then Seattle as well. And this smoke pushes all the way east and south as we go into tonight. And then look at the Mount Underwood fire. Ton of smoke coming off that over the Strait of Georgia, Vancouver Island, the San Juans, even up toward Bellingham and the Canadian border here, and look at Vancouver, BC as well. These fires are both kind of behaving the same, producing a ton of smoke in the afternoons and evenings, and then it pushes south and east as we go overnight. You can see there as we go to now, this is 6 a.m. Thursday there, sun's coming up. It's going to be pretty smoky across Vancouver, Bellingham, Everett, Seattle, Tacoma as that smoke pushes off to the east. And then as we go into the afternoon on Thursday, you get more smoke plumes off the fires, a little bit less. You can see it's a bit smaller off the Bear Gulch fire, but again, blowing straight towards Seattle and Bremerton. And the same thing, Mount Underwood fire blowing a little bit more north there. But this smoke will kind of hang out. And then as we go into Thursday evening, instead of pushing south like it does on Wednesday, the smoke from Bear Gulch pushes a little bit north and will be more visible in areas like Everett and Whidbey Island as we go into the night there. So these fires are going to be very visible, although the air quality impacts will be a little bit more limited. So this is surface smoke we're looking at here. And as we go through the day today, that smoke from the Bear Gulch fire that's very, very dense and unhealthy is centered along Hood Canal and parts of Mason County. And some of that gets out toward Bremerton there, it looks like, and then it kind of just hangs out around Hood Canal as we go into the evening. Some of that in the mountains as that surface smoke hits some of the Cascades. That's about where it is in the elevation, so it'll start hitting the Cascades as it moves over. Get a little bit of surface smoke potentially for parts of northwest Washington from the Mount Underwood fire. And then as we go into Thursday, more smoke hanging around Hood Canal. And then we can see as the flow shifts to southwesterly winds, that smoke blows north up Hood Canal toward places like Sequim and Port Townsend. You can see some pretty heavy smoke for some of those areas on the northern Olympic Peninsula as we go into Thursday night before the smoke starts to diminish as we go into Friday morning. So overall, there is a lot of smoke around the area. Most of it will be aloft, but for some areas, especially Hood Canal and maybe some parts of northwest Washington here, are going to be impacted by surface smoke from both of these fires. Now taking a look at precipitation type, we're going to fly through this stuff a little bit. So you can see that atmospheric river approaches as we go into Thursday night into Friday morning. First round of rain Friday morning there, then we get that heavier round of rain going through Friday afternoon and evening before it starts to push out of the area, with showers diminishing as we go into early Sunday morning. We have a few lingering showers for parts of the coast, and then we may get some more systems here Monday, maybe in Tuesday, but most of that looks to remain offshore right now. So taking a look here, we have the European model on the left and the GFS model, the American model, on the right. And we're looking at precipitable water. That's the amount of water vapor in the atmosphere. And you can see that there is some really good agreement here between the Euro and the GFS in terms of how that atmospheric river comes in. You can see that plume of moisture right here that is the heaviest part of that atmospheric river. And both the European model and the GFS model have very good agreement on the location and the timing of it. And this is just so interesting to see, because this is really something that we forecast in fall quite a bit, and this is mid-August, so this is just really interesting to watch. I'll probably do a live stream Thursday night talking about the forecast for this, where you guys can ask some questions and we can look at some of the latest model runs. So stay tuned for more information on that. Then you can see as we go into Saturday, both models show this starting to push out of the area, to push south and weaken. So this is just a very interesting forecast to watch, and very abnormal for this time of year. Taking a look at precipitation, the National Blend of Models here does show some areas of showers between Seattle and Mount Vernon as we go into Thursday morning. And then you see as we get these multiple rounds of precipitation, we fast forward all the way to Saturday night. And this forecast is again showing 1 to 1.5 inches of rain everywhere from Mount Vernon southward. The coast and the mountains getting 2 to 3 inches, both the Olympics and the Cascades, over 2 inches at the Bear Gulch Fire, and then the Mount Underwood Fire here in BC getting up to 2.5 inches, and then areas from Mount Vernon northward getting 1 to 2 inches. So this is just huge rain totals for August, way over the monthly normal for August, and this will be happening within 2 days. Looking at the European model, similar thing with those potential showers Thursday morning. Then we get these couple rounds of precipitation. The Euro is a little bit lighter on the rain, showing more like a 1/2 inch to 1 inch for the lowlands, maybe up toward 1 1/4. Except from Everett northward there, you kind of get a little bit of a rain shadow up toward the San Juans, getting down toward a 1/2 inch of rain. Mount Vernon up toward Bellingham, you're getting up to 1.5 inches. But this also agrees, coast and mountains getting 1.5 to 3.5 inches of rain. And Bear Gulch Fire, they're getting about 2 inches. Same thing with Mount Underwood. So really good to see that. This will really help to put out these fires, but these fires are going out with a bang here, just producing a ton of smoke over these next couple of days. And then this is the University of California, San Diego atmospheric river prediction forecast here, and this is showing potential Category 3 atmospheric river based on the GFS model along the Washington coast, and that is very abnormal to see in summer. So just thought it'd be interesting to take a look at that. And then taking a look at air quality real quick here. This is our current outlook. You can see we do have some of that smoke from the Bear Gulch Fire pushing over parts of eastern Washington. Look at how bad some of that air quality is from Wenatchee, Moses Lake, Yakima. Yakima's doing all right. Ellensburg and Cle Elum not doing so well. But western Washington doing pretty good so far. However, I expect this to get significantly worse along Hood Canal as we go into the evening and the afternoon hours today. So be careful if you are out in that area. Otherwise, thank you all very much for watching. Be sure to subscribe here to Western Washington Weather on YouTube. Got a lot more coming over the next few days. And be sure to follow me on Blue Sky on Twitter and the Western Washington Weather Facebook group for a lot more updates. The links to all of these are in the description below. So thank you all very much for watching, and I will talk to you all tomorrow.